welcome to Let's Talk Africa, a conversation that we're going to be having with some great people who have traced their ancestry to Ghana. And Suriname is the place they are from or they are connected to, and these are people who were descended through the enslavement and captured to go work there. They are from Africa, some are from Africa, India, and they are Javanese as well. But today, let's get into the minds, their experiences, why they've come back to Ghana, what importantly they're going to take away, and what we can also learn. So this is Marvin and this is Otmar. Those are their real names. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. And I'm sure we're going to be having a very frank and interesting conversation. Let me start off with Marvin. Now, Marvin, first time here?
My first time.
In Ghana?
In Ghana.
And in Africa?
First time in Africa.
Oh my, you need some baptism.
Well, I actually have been baptized. We're here on a special mission.
I see.
And the day before yesterday, we drove to Asemaso, where we were allowed to bathe in the slave river. That's the spot where enslaved Africans were allowed to wash themselves one last time before they were taken to the slave ship. So I've been baptized.
I see. I'll come back to that. I have not had that baptism though, but you came to have it, so I'll come back to that conversation. Otmar.
Yes.
What's the meaning of Otmar? And I hear this is not your first time.
Yes.
Let's start off with the meaning of Otmar.
I even don't know. My parents like the name and they give it to me.
Oh, I see.
Yes. I don't think there's a reason or something about that name Otmar.
Oh,
just a European name.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. And this is not your first time, obviously, in Africa and Ghana.
No. I have been in several countries in Africa. I have been several times in Ghana because I like it. You can do a lot in heritage, in music, in culture, music and dance. And it is nice to be in a country where everybody is like me. Okay. Just look like me.
If not for educational purposes, why would it be important for you to want to connect back to your roots?
That's a very loaded question. I work with students, with children of African descent, and one thing that I always do with them when I'm teaching them is that I put my hand next to them. Many of them are of Ghanaian descent. Their parents moved to the Netherlands, so I put my hand next to them. They were stolen from the same continent and taken to Suriname. And 400 years later, we still look alike. We are here now. We're going to talk about, I assume we're going to talk about why we're here. But we're here now, and I'm seeing so many similarities, so many things that I recognize, even though I've never seen them before. I've never been here, but it feels like I came home. And I believe, and I wrote this yesterday, I believe that so many people from that part of the world can trace, if you would look back at what they look like, where they really came from, they can trace their ancestry back to right here. So I see this place as home, as Mecca, as the Mecca of people of African descent who were stolen, who are the descendants of the people who were stolen from here once. So yeah, for educational purposes, for cultural purposes, for knowing who you are, I believe that it's a good thing to come back.
You have been here several times.
Yes.
Is there a point where you were lost in identity, and for the reason you've kept coming? Because I've had that conversation with people who would want to trace their ancestry, saying that, look, over there we don't belong, so we need that identity to belong. Is that why you keep coming?
No, that's not the case, because before I come to Africa, the continent Africa, I was always busy with African history. I study a lot. I met a lot of people from Africa, from Senegal, from Ghana, from Gambia, from South Africa. So there wasn't a point in me. The reason why I come to Ghana, I want to trace my roots. That was, I think, the most important thing. And I'm an African, and I want to be in Africa. I think that's the truth. I'm African, I want to be in Africa, in the continent Africa, and I want to trace my roots. There's two, and the third thing is that I want to connect with Africans. the two things.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So
Okay.
very well, very well.
I want to add. I want to add something to that, too, and that goes to your question of about not belonging.
Right.
It's not so. It's not such a thing. It's not so much as not belonging, because our ancestors were taken away, but they carved out new kingdoms. They carved out new places where
Yes.
they do belong. So that we're theirs. We are here on a mission regarding one of our ancestors who fled slavery and went and lived in the forest where he started his own kingdom. There were so many of those people. So we do belong, but we also belong here. So it's a double-edged sword.
yeah.
Yeah.
But do you have friends, before we go to the substantive issues, do you have friends out there who have challenges with belonging?
Definitely.
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Otmar can
Yeah,
respond
enough.
to that best.
I have enough friends. I have enough. I have enough students. I know a lot of people who are careless in their identity. If about the African identity, because
Right.
for them it's really difficult because they don't know we're from Africa. They say if we go to Africa, people don't gonna love us. It's a challenge for a lot of people.
I see.
But
Yeah.
for me,
No, I'm not even talking about belonging here.
Yeah.
Over there, where you are.
Yeah.
Are there issues of belonging for which people would love to come and rather want to say, look, when I trace my roots,
Yes.
this is where I'm from. I think people will accept me more here in Africa.
no, I don't think
That's-
that's like that because people want to know where they come from because we know nowadays you have social media,
Okay.
so you can see a lot of the African history.
Right.
You see a lot of movies, pictures about Africa and the people. So people want to know more information.
Okay.
I don't think people. There's some people, but I don't think people want to live in Ghana or live in Gambia, but they want to trace
They
their
want to
roots.
know
So
roots.
I think that is very important
But
for them.
there's also this thing about the distorted image, the distorted Western image about
Okay.
Africa.
Yeah.
Africa is often portrayed as this place that only has poor, hungry people with flies and
Yeah.
poverty and war. So there's this image is constantly being fed to the Western world, and
Okay.
we live in the Western world. So of course some people are going to believe that. We took it upon ourselves, and with us there's thousands of us
Okay.
who went and researched and who know better. But there's still millions who don't know better,
Okay.
who indeed have this image of I don't want to belong there. I'm only from Suriname, or
Yes.
I'm in Holland.
Okay.
I'm only from Holland. Yeah, it's a difficult situation.
Anyway, so Marvin tells me that he's been doing journalism for about 30 years, but now he's into teaching students. So let me ride on that, and with what you just said, what was that striking thing that made you say, you know what, for the first time I want to come to Ghana? What was that striking thing that gave you that prompt or prompted you to come?
You only want to hear one thing?
That major one thing. I know there are a lot of them, but that one that kept ringing, and for you to pick a luggage,
Yeah.
to come.
Okay, it's difficult. These beads, a friend of mine gave them to me. I think 6 years ago. They're glass beads from Kumasi. I felt so proud when I put them on my arm the first time. I have 2 sets of them, and I've been buying beads since 2000 and I think 14. Buying beads like I'm crazy. I don't know why. And it felt like it resonated with my African identity. So I always wanted to come. Like I said, many of my students have Ghanaian parents, have Nigerian parents, so I always wanted to come. Otmar has always been telling me about Ghana. I've been watching the movies, I've been watching the documentaries and so on. But what brought me here now is something that Otmar did a few months ago. He was here, and then he went to Asemason, and there he visited a museum. It was an open air museum,
Okay.
with pictures and photographs of liberators from America, from the Caribbean, and like Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman of the Underground Railroad, and so on. There's like 30 pictures, and he asked the question, why isn't there a liberator, a slavery liberator from Suriname here? Because we're both from Suriname.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why isn't there somebody from Suriname here? We have so many people who fought slavery, because not all of the people who were taken to Suriname became slaves. Some of them fled. Some of them jumped in the water the moment they arrived in Suriname, and they went in the forest and they started the kingdoms. So we asked that question, and they said, if you have one, bring him. So he asked me, and he can tell the rest of the story.
Okay, so let's go back to that story. So
Yes.
you went to where and at what point, and what's the reason?
Yeah. When I come to Ghana or any African country, I always looking for the slave heritage. So I cannot come to Ghana and I have not drive to Cape Coast.
Okay.
Because I
Before
know-
we even go there,
Yes.
of all things, why would you be looking for that slave tradition?
Because it's part of me.
Okay.
Because that is what makes me. That's the reason I cannot talk Twi of any language.
That's the reason why you
speak
call
Dutch,
Otmar.
Otmar. So that's the reason they call it Suriname,
Okay.
African Suriname. So that's the main reason.
Okay, right.
Just I always looking for my my ancestral
Okay,
history.
so that's where it connects. The
Yes.
slave tradition connects you to
Yes.
the roots.
Yes.
And that's your importance.
that's very important.
Okay,
Yes.
so then you came and you found out what?
I came the first time I came many times to Asimanso, and then last year March I was here before COVID started. I was here and I speak with the guy, a very friendly guy, tour guide, and I said, oh, there's no picture of it. So I was start thinking. I came back in November. I say, I want a picture of an African freedom fighter from Suriname. He said, bring one. Then I come back in March. I asked him again, and he said, yeah, you can bring one. And when I could go back at the end of March to the Netherlands, I was sitting down at home and think what I can do now. So I post something on Facebook, and then Marvin post a reaction on it, and so everything is going on.
Okay.
Yes.
So now you're here to ensure that we inculcate liberators from
Well,
yeah.
Suriname.
Not only liberator. That's a big important part of what we want to do.
Okay.
I think Marvin can add me is
Yes.
we want institutional hoe zeg je Marvin?
To institute,
Yeah,
to
the
incorporate.
the African diaspora here. I want you to know here in Ghana,
That we
there are
exist.
people in Suriname, there are people in Curacao, there are people even in Europe, African people, African descendant. We are everywhere in the world.
Okay.
And I think you need to know who we are, what we are doing, and which African culture we still have.
Okay. So with that, let's now come to Marvin. Oh, you wanted to add
I
something?
want to add something
Right.
to that. Like he says, it's important for you to know who we are and what we do,
Yes.
what our culture is, but we also want to know what you're doing.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and that's
Yeah.
why you're here. So tell me about that one